Have you ever been stuck in a room, maybe at a party or a networking event, surrounded by people but feeling that deep, awkward loneliness because you just couldn't think of a single thing to say? It's like your brain goes totally blank, leaving you alone in a crowded room. If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely not broken. In fact, you're in great company. Social anxiety and struggling to start and keep a good conversation going is one of the most common issues out there. We tend to believe that some people are just born with natural charisma and others aren't. That's a massive misconception. Conversation is 100% a skill, and like any skill, you can totally develop and improve it. Once you have a solid technique, the words start flowing effortlessly. That's where we bring in the ladder technique. This system gives you a step-by-step path to building trust, engagement, and deep connection. We're going to walk through each rung, showing you how to start a conversation out of thin air and keep it going without ever running out of things to say. Let's jump into the first step, observation. This is how you start with zero pressure. Just notice something, literally anything, in the shared environment. You could say, "This coffee shop always plays the weirdest jazz," or, "Oh, that's a cool bag. Where'd you get it?" This is the perfect anchor because it keeps the conversation light but still personal. You're not oversharing or asking deep questions, you're just making the first move. Trust me, people secretly love being noticed. Once you set that friendly, interested tone, things just start clicking into place. Imagine this, you're at a work networking event. You stand awkwardly next to a guy in a suit, everyone else is mingling, and you feel stuck. You break the ice with that tiny observation. "Man, is it just me or is it cold in here?" He laughs and says, "I thought I was the only one freezing." Just like that, you've found common ground. One tiny little observation can instantly lead to a solid connection. Now for step 2, opinion. Once you've passed the first step, this is where you start adding yourself to the conversation, showing off your personality. It's not as scary as it sounds. You're just no longer talking about what you see, but what you think. For example, you could say something like, "I'm usually not a fan of jazz, but this playlist kind of slaps." Or, "Honestly, most superhero movies feel exactly the same to me." Or, go for the controversial topic. "I think pineapple belongs on pizza, no shame." This works because opinions spark reactions. They invite the other person to agree, disagree, or simply add their own perspective into the mix. This instantly moves the conversation from surface-level chatter to something dynamic. It becomes a dialogue, not a monologue. Even better, sharing a casual opinion shows that you're comfortable enough to be a little vulnerable. A study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology actually found that people who share honest opinions are perceived as more trustworthy and interesting. So, don't be afraid to drop an opinion or two in there. Step 3 is experience, and this is where the conversation naturally shifts from just thoughts to actual stories. You move from saying, "I think," to, "You know, that reminds me of the time." This is where you humanize yourself. For example, you could say, "I watched that movie with my parents once. Worst idea ever." Or, if you're talking about coffee, "This reminds me of the time I accidentally ordered 5 espressos in Italy." Or, "I actually tried salsa dancing once." Keyword, tried. Experiences are incredibly powerful because they give the conversation depth and make you instantly more memorable. Most importantly, they invite the other person to share their stories too. People bond over shared experiences, or even just similar feelings. Try sharing something a little bit vulnerable about yourself with a stranger and watch how they respond. So, why does this ladder technique actually work? Simple. Most people struggle because they either get stuck on step 1, just making light, meaningless observations, or they jump straight to oversharing and getting too vulnerable too fast. The ladder technique gives you a smooth, natural path. You don't skip ahead. You build trust, comfort, and engagement one step at a time. It's not overly complicated, and each step prepares both you and the other person for the next one. It's smooth, natural, and most importantly, it's authentically human.